Okay, so to start things off, this is going to be a pretty much unscripted video, pretty bare bones with editing, really only bringing up screenshots and stuff like that. Because personally, I don't think that Jake slash Lego Freak deserves my attention. I have zero respect for this person. Because just based on his character. Also, second of all, I think I owe Jinblade a little bit of an apology. I'm not saying that I refute some of the claims that I've made. Some of them I do, like his video quality. I feel like was kind of a petty thing to make a whole claim about in my video. I will be privating my Jinblade video as well, because I just don't really see the need to keep it around anymore. Anyone who knows about what happened has already seen it. There's no reason to keep it around. And I feel like I've matured a little bit more. He hasn't really talked to me since, and I haven't really talked to him. While on the other hand, Lego Freak or Jake would keep harassing me about the video and just spread negativity to me. And I didn't realize that putting out that video about 1 year ago, that Lego Freak would be even worse. He would be way worse. 10 times worse than how Jinblade is. Because yeah, me and Jinblade, we're not really friends. I mean, I think that's pretty clear. We don't agree on some things. I don't think we particularly like each other. I respect his passion for Ninjago and, his content. And, he creates pretty original content, to say the least. Lego Freak doesn't. He doesn't do any of that. He doesn't really contribute much to the community. All he really does is open boxes and streams. That's literally all he does. So I have far more respect for Jinblade. We still might not like each other, but I respect him for some things, so at least he can kind of take that away from this. But this video is not about Jinblade. This video is about Jake, or Lego Freak. I'm going to call him Jake. So, a lot of people seem to have not known the real side of this child, of this sad, sad child. And I find that pretty troubling, since he is a not terribly huge figure in the community, but he has a decent sized channel. Like 4,000 subscribers, that's not bad. That's a pretty decent sized channel, especially for a teenager. That's not bad at all. So I was kind of concerned that no one really knew, other than people who would talk to him in the DMs, about how he actually is and how he behaves, like when the curtains are closed. And this all ties back. The first time I really was surprised by something that he said, because yeah, I would be on streams with him before, and he'd say some kind of like wacky stuff, and I was just like, yeah, it's funny, it's whatever. The day that I think my opinion, or like the way I looked at him, really changed was about a year ago. It was the night of House of Bricks' stream, where basically I streamed over them and that whole thing. That's like the reason why I made the Jinblade video. And they invited me after the stream to have a private stream with, or like a private hangouts call with me, myself, Lego Freak, or Jake, and House of Bricks. In this call, I'd say 2% of it is taken up by us talking about the actual problem. I apologize for being selfish and streaming over their stream, and they apologize for, handling the situation how they did. And we both kind of we all kind of respected each other after that. So I thought. The other 98% of this Hangouts call was Lego Freak. Just basically Lego Freak. I barely talked. I know House of Bricks barely talked. The whole rest of the Hangouts call consisted of Lego Freak sexually venting to me and House of Bricks about stuff that he would do to another female creator in the Lego community. Now, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want to do that. I feel like that would that would be uncalled for, and because I haven't talked to her about this, I don't know her super well, but it would just be unwarranted for and uncalled for. And yes, I have no real evidence of this happening except for maybe the chat log that occurred that night, except for because all this stuff was said during the call, wasn't texted. If it was texted, I would have the screenshots to show to you right now, but I do not because I was not recording the Hangouts call. The only way that I can get this to basically be validated is if House of Bricks came out and said something, which I don't think he is, personally, because he seems to stream with Lego Freak and Gibblade a lot. He's kind of in that group a little bit now. I don't think he would do that, personally. I'm not mad at him or anything, I just don't think he would. And that's his thing. I hope he does. I hope he does do something right and talk about this, because it's really fucked up what the kind of stuff he said. Overly graphic and sexual, overly sexualized, at this, like, insulting this teenage girl and making sexual comments about her and things that he would do to her. Borderline abusive. And then he would just laugh it off like it's some sort of joke. It's not a joke. This is serious stuff that you were saying and stating that you would do. And I'm surprised that anyone would state that with an audience of anyone. Just even state that in general is insane. So this whole thing kind of got created in my mind. This whole idea for this video, quote unquote video, it's just me really talking for I don't know how long. Well, I mean, I did a few takes of this. The one cut that I actually finished was 50 minutes long, so I thought that was a bit too long. So I'm gonna try shorten it down here. This all got created back a few days ago. I made a joke towards Lego Freak on his live story, because we weren't really on the best of terms before this anyway. Like, we were neck and neck. Like, he'd go on my live streams and just like talk shit about me sometimes, and like I'd mostly ignore it. Sometimes I'd acknowledge him, but that's basically how it was. It was just like petty drama bullshit. And so I put a joke on his live story. The joke was about like him not getting a date or something like that, him not ever being with a girl, or like him not ever being in a relationship. It was something along that line. But his comeback kind of shocked me as well. He goes on and states, quote unquote, "No girl will ever open her legs for you." Let me repeat that. No girl will ever open her legs for you. And I find that pretty fucking disgusting, and also pretty ironic, because we're talking about Lego Freak here. This implies, and I'm not taking any other solution, like, explanation. This directly implies the first thing that comes to Jake's head when he thinks of a woman is a fucking sex toy. No girl will ever open her legs for you. What about no girl will ever want to spend time or laugh or talk about life with you? Because that's what a real relationship is. And I don't think he knows that. I really don't think he knows that. Because someone who's been in a real relationship would definitely know that that is what that is about. not just a one-time sex session. And on top of that, before, he would DM me and vent to me about all of his exes, like bloating and bragging that he has like 5 or 6 exes, quote unquote. Because to be honest, they're just people that he added on Snapchat and talked sexually to for, a couple days and then blocked. But still, do you want people to think that you're a piece of shit? Because, it truly sounds like you are. And I'm 99.9% convinced that you are. He would show me pictures of the girls who snap him. And then brag. Like, oh, that's another one I'm adding to my list. My list of exes. I don't understand. I truly don't understand why you would brag about that in the first place. That just shows that you can't hold on to anything. Because the first thing that comes into your mind when you talk to a girl, which I think is probably a pretty rare occasion for you, is sex. Which should be one of the last things that you ever think about. You have to spend time. A relationship is basically like having a good friend. Like a really good friend. You guys can laugh and talk and spend time with each other. Those are the foundations of a relationship. If you don't understand that or don't get that, I am genuinely concerned and scared for any woman that would happen to come across this freak. Lego freak, that is. See, it's all in the name. When he's older. Honestly, I'm genuinely scared to know that in the future, if he doesn't grow up or mature or stop thinking of women as fucking objects, he's going to have the worst time if he gets caught. Sexual abuse is in your future, buddy. And that's kind of where I want to move into the next point. One of his most common... Well, actually, let me say this first. So I screenshotted his statement, "No girls will ever open their legs for you." And I put that on a close friends story. So it's like a story where I can select who sees it, of like about 60 people. And I got a lot of DMs from people who had no idea and were completely shocked that he would ever make that statement in general. And that is what caused me to make this video today. I know there are a lot of people out there who have problems with Jake, and I completely understand. I am with you there. I am with you there. There are so many people in the community who have had trouble with this kid for a long time. I know people who would just get into the community and just be shit on by this kid. Because he thinks he's the big shit. Because he rides Brickdeck's coattails. Honestly. That's all he does. He's not special. None of us are really special. Except it pains me to see the people who work so hard in this community just get shut down. And they get nothing. They get nothing. While this kid who acts like a complete asshole, and I am validated to say this. I have talked to him for long enough. I've known him for more than a year, basically. Do I know him super closely? No. But do I know him well enough to make a video about this? Yes. Yes, I do know. So that's basically the reason why I wanted to make this video. I'm tired of seeing that, and people seemed kind of surprised. Honestly, and that kind of shocked me. I thought a lot of people knew that he acted like this. But no, it seems like a lot of people were genuinely surprised that he would make a statement like that. So that's what got me to be like, oh, maybe I should make a video on this person to let everyone know. And that's what I did. And honestly, it was pretty easy because he gave me everything I needed. He gave me everything I needed, basically. So, another common thing that he would say to me is that I'm a spoiled rich kid. I bought into the group or the community, which I think is hilarious. First of all, I'm not a spoiled rich kid. Yeah, I mean, I have a roof over my head. I have a nice house I live in. I have a great supportive family. I don't take any of that stuff for granted. I feel like I'm very grateful for what I have in my life. I would never consider myself spoiled, unlike the person whose whole channel literally revolves around buying Lego and opening it in front of people. So often. He gets stuff so often, and he calls me the spoiled rich kid. I just think that is so funny. And that's his number one crutch. I'm spoiled. I bought into the community for some reason, because, I only just started watching people in the community and then decided to make a channel and then entered a contest and then got one of the top spots in the contest, which kind of jump-started my channel. I bought into the community. Yeah, sure, I donated to some creators that I liked. That's not a big deal. People donate all the time. I never asked for anything in return. I never donated for the sole reason to, grow. I donated because I appreciated their videos and their content. And it's just, that's simple. It's just as simple as that. So that's basically his whole crutch that he uses against me. I want to go into the second point of this video, that Jake is also homophobic. Extremely homophobic. So this is kind of in the midst. We're talking about the rioting that's happening. First of all, he says that actually, I'll get to this later. So we're talking about the rioting. And I'm saying that, like, store owners have insurance, human life doesn't. So honestly, I don't see such a huge reason to complain about the destruction of stores and stuff like that. And then he asked, do you support the Pride wackos as well? So, and I ask him if he means the LGBTQ community, which I state, who have put up with decades of mistreatment and abuse, which is true. It was illegal. It was illegal at one point, which is insane. That is insane. They have suffered for long enough. And he refers to them as wackos. And he says, yes, that's what I mean. He then goes on to state that the Bible says that marriage is only between a man and a woman. Which I find funny, that people always seem to rely on the Bible, which, then again, is just a book about religion. How do we know? How do you know that heaven and hell exist? You've never been. You've never seen it. No one has. No one has. So how can you trust a fucking book? How do you base your life around a book? When I grew up, I would go to church every Sunday. But am I in an overly religious family? No. My mom taught me that God doesn't care about your social class, the color of your skin, your preferred sex, your sexual preference. He doesn't care about any of that because he loves you just as equally as everyone else. And to see that twisted, I feel like is such a slap in the face. People seem to hold, and I'm not going to go on forever about this, people seem to hold Christianity about this such a caring organization, such a nice and thoughtful organization, but literally, the one thing I think about with Christianity nowadays is hate. That is all I see. Yeah, we're Christians. We'll accept you, unless if you're gay, unless if you're homosexual, unless if you're an immigrant, especially growing up living in the West, living in the Midwest, down by the border. It's pretty prevalent here. You hear a lot of that stuff from Christians. Guys, we're so wholesome. We're such great people, guys. We love everyone, except some people. So, to get this out of the way, if you're a female in the Lego community and you believe in feminism, you believe that females deserve equal rights as men, equal pay, just to be treated equally and not like objects, I would advise you to unsubscribe from Lego Freak's channel, because subscribing is basically supporting his ideals. That's basically how it goes. And also, if you're a member of the LGBTQ community and you are part of the Lego community as well, I know there are a good number of you guys out there, and you are subscribed to Lego Freak and watch his videos, I would advise you to also unsubscribe from his videos, because then again, subscribing and watching his videos are basically supporting his beliefs, because he is someone who genuinely believes this stuff. The last main thing that I would want to talk about here, I'm not going to get into any of the political stuff that we talked about. Everyone has their own political views. There's nothing wrong with that. I have friends who are Republican. I'm a Democrat. It doesn't matter. You should not base your friendships off of political parties and political beliefs. That's simple. But I want to talk about the Black Lives Matter movement and what we discussed. So, Jake seems like he stated that he supports the Black Lives Matter movement, and that it is awful that George Floyd had to die and that he was killed by a police officer. So Jake goes on to say, goes on to state here, yes, Black lives do matter. Of course they do. All lives matter. All lives matter, guys. All lives matter. Now, I have such a problem with the statement, all lives matter. Not saying that, we all shouldn't be treated equally, because that's not what I think that statement means. That's far from it. If you were to really think that we should all be treated equally, you should have said we are all one race. Because that's true. We are all one race. The human race. That is it. That is it. We are all one race. We are the human race. We should all be treated equally. That's that. All lives matter, however, it kind of has a different meaning. So, I saw this analogy from Ethan Klein of the H3H3 podcast, or just H3H3 in general. He brought this analogy twice. Once in his Black Lives Matter video and another time in his most recent podcast episode. And I found it pretty fitting to explain to Lego Freak because, he wants to be a firefighter, so this is fitting enough. So imagine you are a firefighter and you get called down to fire at a neighborhood and a house is burning. And once you get there, you spray all of the houses in the neighborhood with water. People would ask, why, and yell and scream because they're confused and angry. Why are you spraying all of the houses in this neighborhood with water? And you explain to them, well, all houses matter, except for, the one that's burning down on the corner, and you're not even getting to it yet, because you think that all houses matter. But the one who really needs the water right now is the one that's on fire. That is where I think the sentiment of all lives matter is. All lives matter doesn't mean all lives matter. All lives matter means, yeah, it sucks that the black community has been facing police brutality and systemic racism for decades and decades, but I have problems too. I, as a white man, or a white woman, or just a white individual, I have problems too. I can't get toilet paper at my local Walmart. I can't find the new Lego sets at Target. Guys, all lives matter. All lives matter. I'm not getting shot in my own home, or kneeled on the neck by the side of the road in front of people, but I have problems too, guys. That is the most insensitive thing to say, and that is exactly what all lives matter means. You cannot ignore that. If you genuinely think the statement all lives matter means that all lives matter, you're not right. You're not right. If you think that all lives matter, genuinely, you would say that we are all one race, because all lives matter means the exact opposite of what the statement says. That is clear as day. So while kind of moving into the next set of DMs, because he did block me 3 times, I think. He blocked me twice on the regular account. He blocked me once on the regular on my Lego account because I don't know, I guess he was just fed up with me, getting on him and making my point. And then he unblocked me the next day to keep talking for some reason. And then at the end of that, he said something along the lines of, I'm going to block you. Don't ever contact me again. That is what he said. Okay, so I hopped onto my alternate account. And in here, he said, well, first of all, so I was basically making the claim that he sounds like he could technically be a racist person. He's already homophobic. I would not be surprised if he was racist. And he made these comments to defend his claim. That cop was terrible. Indeed, he should have been arrested. I don't get how you think I am a white supremacist. I favor blacks more. So keep talking. I favor blacks more. I favor blacks more. I'm going to say that one more time. I favor blacks more. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounds exactly like something someone who is a white supremacist or someone who's racist would say to defend themselves from, not being called a racist. I favor blacks more. I could just be completely insane. I could be completely insane, and this might be fine with a lot of people. That statement might be fine with a lot of people, but for me, there's something genuinely off about it. I favor blacks more. That sounds like something our president would say, and I'm not saying anything else about that, because I'm not trying to spiral down and make this a 2-hour-long video, because I have a lot to say about that one man. I favor blacks more. Seems like the most insensitive and insincere statement to ever make when defending yourself after being called a racist. And he goes on to defend his defense by giving an example. Like when we get a black driver from Uber Eats, I will tip him or her more. So you are wrong again. I have never had an issue with a black person. Most are so nice. I'm not saying that if you're a racist, you're not going to always have an issue with a black person. Do you not know what racist means? Do you not know what being a racist doesn't mean all people who are part of the black community know that you're a racist and will just, be mean and talk shit to you. That's not what it is. If you don't say anything to them, they're not going to say anything to you. That's how it works. But, like, when we get a black driver from Uber Eats, I will tip him or her more. How is that supposed to defend your claim that I called you a racist? That makes you sound even worse. First of all, you're generalizing the driver. You're making sure, this one's a black driver. I gotta tip him more to show that I'm not a racist. Or, this one's a white driver. I don't have to tip them more. Because, they're white. They're not black. I gotta tip the black drivers more so that they know that I'm not racist. So I can show everyone that I'm not a racist person. That's the most stupid fucking thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And I'm so dumbfounded, honestly. Like, it's so dumbfounded how you can literally type that and think to yourself, yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, I'm not gonna, receive any flack from this at all. I don't get it. I do not get it at all. I don't get it. They don't want you to tip them more. They want to be treated equally. We have white privilege. I've never been scared when we've been pulled over by a cop. I've never been scared when I've had encounters with the police. They have that fear every day that they step out of their own home. They don't want you to feel sorry and tip them $1 more. They don't want that. They want to be treated equally. Like us. We all need to be treated equally. That is not the way to go about that. And if you genuinely think that disproves the fact that you seem exactly like a racist person and someone who makes unfavorable comments towards people of color, you are just... something's up. Something's going on in your head. Honestly. That is insane. And he goes on, so he tries to get this whole, oh, I'm a good person persona. This is probably going to be the final thing that I say because I'm already at the 30-minute mark. This is kind of his comeback to say, oh, I'm a good person. I'm a good person because I volunteer. Yeah, no shit. Everyone volunteers. Doesn't make you a good person. And he comes up with this statement twice. That he volunteers, and he drops everything that he has to do to go volunteer, which I find is funny because usually when I volunteer, you have to schedule a time to come in and help. You don't just go willy-nilly whenever you want. Most of the time, sometimes, yeah, they will be looking for help on the fly, and you'll just like say that, yeah, I can make it. But even then, you don't drop everything. How does that make you look any better? Most people volunteer. That has nothing to do with your moral status or how you act as a person. You could be the worst fucking person of all time and still volunteer. Volunteering is not like a vanity project. It's something that you just do. It's not something that you show to people to prove that you're a good fucking person, you idiot. You fucking idiot. So, by what I've shown you, you could tell that Jake loves his blacks, but oh no, not my Walmart. Guys, they just broke the windows into my local Walmart. They're taking all the Lego sets. Guys, this has gone too far. I'm sorry that the James Floyd guy got killed by a police officer, but now they're taking all the Lego sets at my Walmart. It's just going too far. If you care more about the buildings than the actual issue going on, you're part of the problem. That's a fact. I don't know how this is going to affect him at all. I hope it does something, because genuinely, to be honest, I was so excited to come into this community. This community was something I sat back. I used to watch M&R, and Just Too Good back in the day. I watched M&R since 2012. I used to watch him all the way back then. His drop test videos were classic. And then I started watching Just Too Good a little bit later. And then when Brick Attack came around, I started watching him. And they all kind of inspired me to make my own channel. And like Jane Bricks and stuff. Like that too. Bricksar. They all inspired me to make my own channel and start making Lego content. And I was so excited to go and do it. And I'm so blessed to have the numbers that I have and to have the success that I have. I'm genuinely so thankful for the numbers on my last video. It's 400 something views right now. I could not be more ecstatic about that because I worked so very hard on that video, and I appreciate the recognition that I've gotten for that video. But they inspired me to go and make my channel and to go and create stuff around something that I like to do. But now, all I can think about with the Lego community, one of the first things I can always think about is how much hate and just how terrible people can be to each other in this community. And I wish that wasn't the case. Because Lego should not be like that. We should all have one common interest, maybe more. And that is Lego. We are all here for one thing, and that is for Lego, not for hate. I'm so sick of dealing with this person has basically ruined my experience in the Lego community. I have thought about quitting before because of this person. I know many other people have had their experiences with Jake as well. And that's unacceptable. I know that because a lot of people have told me their experiences. A lot of smaller creators that you've never heard of before. And I bet there's some bigger creators that have stories about Jake as well. So I advise anyone, if you have any stories or experiences with Jake not being good to you at all or treating you like utter shit, I would advise you to go share them down in the comments or on your story or anywhere. I hope I can make it available that other people can speak out, because this is unacceptable. We've given this child so much, and he feels like he can get away with anything. Being sexually abusive towards girls, sexually venting to us. To me, most importantly. I don't know. There's probably others who he's sexually vented to. Being homophobic. Being somewhat racist. They don't come out when he's live or when he's making a video. He puts on the persona. So what you have to do is when the curtains are closed, you simply just have to open them back up. Thank you.